Chapter 37, Section 1, continued. So finally, World War I is over. You have peace. The U.S. president, while this was going on, was Woodrow Wilson. And Woodrow Wilson, all the leaders are going to get together to talk about the peace. And Woodrow Wilson has a plan called 14 points. And his 14 points, lots of different things in them. He talks about nationalist groups getting their own countries. He talks about reducing armaments or weapons for the war. He talks about creating a world association to keep the peace. This is Wilson's plan, though. This is the U.S. plan. It's not just up to them. Britain, Italy, France, their leaders all have different plans. They wanted they wanted paid. They wanted Germany to pay for all the losses that they suffered. The United States, we lost some people, but really, this war wasn't fought here. We didn't suffer the way the European nations had. So Wilson and the other European leaders don't have the same ideas. The peace treaty is going to be called the Treaty of Versailles. And the Treaty of Versailles blamed the entire war on Germany. Hence, they said Germany had to pay for most of this war then. Now, this made the Germans mad that this entire thing was blamed on them. Also in the Treaty of Versailles, Germany is going to lose land. Alsace and Lorraine, okay, it's in the purple there. Alsace and Lorraine, the bottom left in the purple there, it's given back to France. The purple in the top right there, the Polish corridor, that was land given from Germany, given to Poland. Down in Africa, the colonies Germany had were given to France and Great Britain. Pacific colonies on the Pacific were given to Japan. Russia lost more land than Germany. There's going to be some new nations after this war. Poland, Romania, Finland, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania. These were all brand new countries created after this war. But there were some people and there were some areas that were ignored. For example, the Ukraine. The Ukraine wanted independence after this war, and they weren't given independence. They stayed a part of Russia. India and Southeast Asia are ignored. They had supported the Allies, but they weren't rewarded with their independence after this war. Other central power, another area you're going to see, here, let me back up. So other central powers were dealt with in different treaties. Austria-Hungary's broke up. You can see there on that map there. Austria-Hungary's broke up into 4 countries: Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia, and Yugoslavia. They weren't just this big Austria-Hungary anymore. France is going to get something called mandates in Syria and in Lebanon. Mandate means the right to rule. It's not part of France, but they get the right to rule this area. Britain gets mandates, Iraq and Palestine. Some of these divisions that happened here from World War I still affect the way things happen in the Middle East today. Wilson's plan is just ignored. They do not pay attention to Wilson's plan. They keep one thing out of Wilson's 14 points, and that was something called the League of Nations. And the idea with the League of Nations was different nations can come together, and if there's an issue the countries could talk out their problems, maybe preventing future wars. But the problem is the League of Nations has some serious weaknesses. First of all, the League of Nations had no army, so why would anybody have to listen to it? There's no way to make anybody listen. And second giant weakness is we didn't join it, which is ironic because it was our idea, but we never joined this. Many Americans disagreed with the treaties. So after 1919, when this Treaty of Versailles comes out, the U.S. moves back towards isolationism. They don't want anything to do with foreign affairs anymore because they got a part of this and it just went haywire at the end.